After further review, LeBron James' time in LA will be deemed a failure. It's been a hot topic, right? It's been a very hot topic. Did LeBron James succeed in LA? Did he do what he wanted to do? The answer, absolutely not. And to understand why, we first got to take it all the way back to 2018, when LeBron leaves the Cleveland Cavaliers, goes to LA, wants the success, wants the championships. He's going to the big name, right? Big name in the NBA, LA Lakers, big town Los Angeles. His first year with the Lakers, granted, he had no help whatsoever. Misses the playoffs, misses time at the end of the year with an injury. Second year, he's coming back strong, right? He picks up Anthony Davis, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Rajon Rondo, Dwight Howard, Avery Bradley, Alex Caruso, just to name a few. They go and win that championship that year. That was a great Lakers squad in 2020. They win the NBA championship. LeBron kind of seems like he set out to do what he wanted to do. His third year, he goes and loses in the first round to the Phoenix Suns. Anthony Davis injured for most of the year. He had that big injury in the middle of the year. Then the question started being raised. Is Anthony Davis injury prone? Well, let's find out the next year. After the first round exit, LeBron's first round exit in a long time. Since his first time with Cleveland, I believe, in the 2000s. They pick up Russell Westbrook. They get Rajon Rondo back. They get Dwight Howard back. They get a bunch of guys from the 2020 team back. This year, they didn't even make the playoffs. Russell Westbrook had a very off year, and they didn't even make the playoffs. So, back to the original question. Why is LeBron James' time in LA a failure? If we're looking at his personal stats, LeBron James has always put up the numbers, folks. LeBron James proves time and time again why he is a once-in-a-generation talent and why he's going to go down as one of the greatest players to ever do it. Is he the greatest player to ever do it? That's a debate for another day. Me, personally, I don't think so. But the reason LeBron James' time in LA is going to be deemed a failure, he didn't win the rings. LeBron James made the playoffs twice. First time, wins a championship. Second time, gets eliminated in the first round. The other 2 years, misses the playoffs. I don't know what LeBron James is going to do this offseason. There's rumors that they're going to look for a new coach. The Lakers are going to look for a new coach. Maybe Doc Rivers, maybe Mark Jackson. Is LeBron going to stay and try and rebuild the Lakers again to a championship status? We don't know. What I can tell you is, if LeBron James chooses to leave now, he had a failure. That is a failure of time in LA. If you're LeBron James, he went to LA for one reason. That was the rings. He went to LA because he wanted to continue the dynasty. He wanted to continue that dynasty. And he couldn't get the job done. For the first time in his career, a LeBron James team couldn't get the job done. And I can't help but remembering the 2003-2004 Lakers, I believe it was. He got guys like Dennis Rodman, Karl Malone, Gary Payton, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal. Very similar to this year's Lakers squad. LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook, Dwight Howard. In 2003 and 2004, they lost in the playoffs, I believe, to the Phoenix Suns. This year, they don't even make the playoffs. So it could be argued not only that LeBron James' time in LA was a failure, but that this is the biggest failure of a team in NBA history. You get stars like this, and they can't even make the playoffs? Let alone 2003, 2004, we called it a failure because they couldn't make the NBA championship. Some people at the beginning of the year were comparing these two teams. If it's a failure for 03 and 04 to not make the championship, what do you call this when this team doesn't make the playoffs? And I think LeBron doesn't want the word failure associated with him. So don't be surprised if he moves on from LA sooner rather than later, because LeBron might force his way out of LA. And I'm not discrediting LeBron. I am not discrediting LeBron whatsoever. But the Lakers, this year, not only were they a failure this year, LeBron did not do what he set out to do. Ladies and gentlemen, the Lakers dynasty is over. I don't care what coach they get next year. They do not have the talent right now to compete in the West. And that's another point. LeBron James, in his first time in the Western Conference, has 2 playoff appearances out of 4 years to show for it. 2 playoff appearances of 4. One of them he won the championship. 2 of them he missed the playoffs. And the other one, first round exit. Now that doesn't go hand in hand with the GOAT conversation between him and Jordan, because Jordan never played in the Western Conference. If I'm correct. Correct me if I'm wrong. Jordan never played in the Western Conference. LeBron had the guts to go to the Western Conference. But it didn't work out. I think that proves that LeBron might be a tiny little bit overhyped. LeBron can't get the job done on the West Coast. He can get it done on the East Coast. But the West Coast, where things are much harder, where you got to play teams like the Phoenix Suns, where you got to play teams like the Golden State Warriors, the Memphis Grizzlies, the Utah Jazz, the Denver Nuggets, the Dallas Mavericks. The West Coast is much tougher than the East Coast. And LeBron's first run in the West Coast didn't work out. I would not be surprised to see LeBron leave the Lakers and stay in the West Coast and try and make things work out. Because after further review, LeBron's time in LA was a failure.